Flight attendant stopped black girl from flying. What happens next will shock you. Phone-style footage capturing the bustling chaos of an airport terminal. Travelers rush past, their footsteps echoing on the polished floor. A crowded gate, where a line of frustrated passengers snakes toward a check-in counter. At the front stands Lena Carter, a poised woman in her mid-30s, her dark hair pulled back tightly, her expression a mix of exasperation and restraint. Beside her, clutching a stuffed toy airplane, is her 9-year-old daughter Chloe, whose wide eyes dart around the terminal with curiosity. The counter clerk, Brenda, a stern woman with a tightly pinned name tag, taps impatiently at her keyboard. "I'm sorry, Ms. Carter, but your seats were reassigned due to overbooking. You'll be on standby for the next flight." Her tone is clipped, professional but unyielding. Lena's jaw tightens. "Standby? I booked these tickets months ago. My daughter and I are visiting my grandmother, who's not well. We need to be on this flight." Brenda doesn't look up. "Policy is policy, ma'am. The system prioritizes loyalty members, and the Davis family," she gestures to a well-dressed couple and their teenage son nearby, looking smug, had higher status. Chloe tugs at Lena's sleeve, her voice small but clear. "Mom, why can't we just ask nicely? Maybe they'll let us on if we tell them about Great-Grandpa Hayes." Lena kneels to Chloe's level, forcing a smile. "Sweetie, it's not that simple. But don't worry, we'll figure this out." She stands, turning back to Brenda. "Look, my great-grandfather was Captain Isaiah Hayes. Does that name mean anything to you?" Brenda's fingers pause on the keyboard, her eyes narrowing slightly. A murmur ripples through the nearby airline staff, who exchange quick glances. Brenda's face, catching a flicker of recognition before she masks it. "Hayes, you say? Doesn't ring a bell. I'll check for updates, but no promises." The Davis family, who are now whispering among themselves, their expressions shifting from smug to mildly annoyed. The teenage son, Ethan, mutters, "What's so special about her great-grandpa? We're the ones who paid for premium." Suddenly, a woman in her late 50s, dressed in a pilot's uniform with silver hair neatly tucked under her cap, approaches. This is Sarah, the captain of the flight. Her presence commands attention, and the crowd parts slightly as she strides toward Lena. "Excuse me, Ms. Carter? I overheard your conversation. Did you say your great-grandfather was Isaiah Hayes?" Lena nods, surprised. "Yes, Captain Hayes. He was a pilot, a long time ago." Sarah's eyes light up with an unreadable emotion, curiosity, perhaps, or something deeper. A sepia-toned montage of black-and-white photos, African-American pilots in crisp World War II uniforms, standing proudly beside P-51 Mustangs, their faces resolute despite the weight of history. The sound of a distant propeller hums faintly, layered with a soft piano score. Sarah's voice is warm but tinged with urgency. "Ms. Carter, Lena, may I call you that? Your great-grandfather wasn't just any pilot. He was part of the Sky Blazers, wasn't he?" Lena blinks, caught off guard. "The Sky Blazers? I've heard the name from my grandmother, but she never talked much about it. Just that he flew in the war." Sarah leans closer, her voice dropping to a near whisper. The Sky Blazers were a squadron of African-American pilots, some of the first to break barriers in the Army Air Forces. They faced impossible odds, enemies in the sky and prejudice on the ground. Your great-grandfather, Isaiah Hayes, was a legend among them. Chloe's eyes widen, clutching her toy airplane tighter. "Was he like a superhero, Mom?" Lena laughs softly, but her expression is uncertain. "I don't know, Chloe. Grandma Elara always said he was brave, but she didn't share much. Why do you know about him?" Sarah hesitates, glancing around as if wary of being overheard. "My grandfather flew with the Sky Blazers. He used to talk about Captain Hayes like he was larger than life. Said he saved his plane during a mission over Italy in '44. I grew up on those stories." A brief, stylized reenactment, a grainy, black-and-white dogfight in the skies, with a P-51 Mustang swooping in to protect another plane from enemy fire. The sound of gunfire and roaring engines fills the air. Lena's brow furrows. Why would the airline staff react to his name, though? That was decades ago. Sarah smiles faintly. Some of us in aviation, we don't forget our heroes. Let me see what I can do about your seats. She steps away, leaving Lena and Chloe exchanging a look of intrigue. A nearby gate agent whispering to Brenda, whose expression shifts to one of reluctant respect. Why did the mere mention of the Sky Blazers send a ripple of surprise through the airline staff? An animated map tracing a World War II mission over Europe, dotted lines showing flight paths and bursts of red marking enemy fire. A voiceover, Sarah's, calm but reverent, narrates, "In 1944, my grandfather, Lieutenant James Whittaker, was a young navigator. His plane was hit during a bombing run over Italy. They were going down, no hope left." The visuals shift to a dramatic, tasteful reenactment, a damaged plane spiraling, smoke trailing, as another Mustang, piloted by a shadowy figure, implied to be Captain Hayes, dives in, drawing enemy fire away. Archival audio of crackling radio chatter plays, "Stay with me, Whittaker. I've got you." The damaged plane stabilizes, landing safely. Back in the present, Sarah returns to Lena and Chloe, holding 2 boarding passes. "You're on the flight. First class, both of you." Lena's mouth drops open. "First class? How? Why?" Sarah's smile is cryptic. "Let's just say some debts don't expire. My grandfather owed your great-grandfather his life. This is the least I can do." Chloe's excited bounce and Lena's stunned gratitude. As they board, the Davis family glares from the gate, Ethan muttering, "This is ridiculous. Who even are these people?" His mother shushes him, but her expression is sour. On the plane, Lena and Chloe settle into plush first-class seats. Chloe whispers, "Mom, is this because of Great-Grandpa Hayes?" Lena stares out the window, the clouds blurring past. "I don't know, Chloe. But I'm starting to think there's a lot about him I never knew." Sarah in the cockpit, adjusting her headset, a faint smile on her lips as she glances at a small, faded photo taped to the console. A young pilot, perhaps her grandfather, standing beside another man. How did Captain Hayes's heroic act decades ago directly impact Lena and Chloe's journey today? The plane hums softly as the camera sweeps through the first-class cabin. Lena sips a complimentary orange juice, still processing, while Chloe flips through an in-flight magazine, her toy airplane perched on her tray table. A flight attendant, younger and friendlier than Brenda, pauses by their seats. "Ms. Carter, the captain asked me to check on you. She said you're special passengers." Lena raises an eyebrow. "Special? Because of my great-grandfather." The attendant, Maya, hesitates, then lowers her voice. "The captain didn't say much, but she mentioned the Sky Blazers. My uncle's an aviation buff, and he's obsessed with them. Said they were pioneers." Chloe pipes up, "Pioneers? Like cowboys?" Maya laughs. "Kind of, but in the sky. They were some of the first black pilots to fight in the war. Not everyone wanted them there, but they proved everyone wrong." Lena's expression softens, but a flicker of doubt crosses her face. "My grandmother never talked about this. I knew he was a pilot, but pioneers? That's a lot to take in." The Davis family in economy, where Ethan slouches, earbuds in, muttering, "First class for them? Bet they just complained louder." His father, Richard, glances toward first class, his jaw tight. "Something's off about this. Hayes, why does that name sound familiar?" Back in first class, Chloe tugs at Lena's sleeve. "Mom, do you think Great-Grandpa Hayes was famous? Like, movie star famous?" Lena chuckles, but her eyes are distant. "I don't know, sweetie. Grandma Ilara always said he was a quiet man, kept to himself after the war. But now I'm wondering what she didn't tell me." Lena's thoughtful gaze as the plane begins its descent. What questions began to form in Lena's mind about her great-grandfather's past? A cozy, book-lined office at a local university. Dr. Evelyn Reed, a warm, middle-aged historian with a passion for aviation history, sits across from Lena and Chloe, who've come to learn more. Old photographs and yellowed newspaper clippings are spread across her desk, each one a snapshot of the Sky Blazers era. Dr. Reed's eyes sparkle as she speaks. The Sky Blazers weren't just pilots, they were trailblazers. They faced segregation, skepticism, even sabotage. But they flew with precision and courage. Your great-grandfather, Captain Isaiah Hayes, was one of their best. Lena leans forward, intrigued. What made him so special? My grandmother, his daughter, barely spoke about him. I thought he was just a regular pilot. Dr. Reed slides a faded photo toward Lena, a young Isaiah Hayes, standing tall in his flight jacket, his gaze steady. Regular? Hardly. Hayes wasn't just a fighter pilot. He was an innovator. He designed modifications for the P-51s that improved their maneuverability. And off the battlefield, he dreamed of teaching young people, especially those who looked like him, how to soar, literally and figuratively. Chloe points at the photo. That's my great-great-grandpa. He looks so cool. Dr. Reed smiles. He was. But his story, like so many others, was buried. The Sky Blazers didn't get the recognition they deserved in their time. Prejudice, politics, it pushed their legacy into the shadows. Lena's fingers trace the edge of the photo. Why didn't my grandmother tell me any of this? She's still alive, but she's so guarded about him. Dr. Reed's expression softens. Sometimes, families carry pain they don't know how to share. Maybe there's more to his story, something personal, that she's holding on to. On a newspaper headline, Sky Blazers, unsung heroes of the skies. Then it cuts to Lena, her face a mix of pride and curiosity, as she tucks the photo into her bag. What crucial information did Dr. Reed possess that could change Lena's understanding of her family history? The soft hum of the airplane cabin, bathed in the golden glow of a setting sun streaming through the windows. Lena Carter and her daughter Chloe sit in first class, Chloe doodling airplanes in a notebook, her toy plane perched on her tray table. The camera pans across the cabin, capturing curious glances from other passengers, some whispering about the special treatment Lena and Chloe received. Over the intercom, a deep, steady voice breaks the hum. This is Captain Sarah Whitaker. I'd like to take a moment to honor two passengers today, descendants of Captain Isaiah Hayes, a hero of the Sky Blazers. Their courage paved the way for pilots like me. The announcement is brief but carries weight, and the camera catches subtle reactions. A flight attendant, Maya, nods respectfully. An older passenger in economy looks up, intrigued. The Davis family, seated further back, exchange annoyed glances. Lena's eyes widen, her fingers tightening around her glass of water. Chloe, did you hear that? She whispers. Chloe nods, her face beaming. Mom, they know Great-Grandpa Hayes. He was famous. Maya approaches with a tray of desserts, leaning in. The captain doesn't do shout-outs like that often, she says softly. The Sky Blazers mean something to her. To all of us in aviation, really. She places a chocolate mousse in front of Chloe, who gasps in delight, then hesitates. Is this because of Great-Grandpa too? Maya winks. Let's just say we take care of our own. As she moves away, the camera lingers on Lena's thoughtful expression, her gaze drifting to the clouds outside. A flashback flickers, a grainy image of Isaiah Hayes in his pilot's uniform, standing beside a P-51 Mustang, his face resolute. In the cockpit, Sarah adjusts her headset, her co-pilot glancing at her. That was a bold move, Cap. Not every day you call out a passenger. Sarah smiles faintly. Hayes saved my grandfather's life. If that doesn't deserve a nod, what does? The camera zooms in on a faded photo taped to the console. Two young pilots, one presumably Hayes, grinning against a wartime sky. Back in the cabin, Lena overhears a passenger behind her murmur, Sky Blazers? Never heard of them. The comment stings, and Lena's resolve hardens. Why was there this unspoken reverence for a group seemingly lost to history? A small, quiet airport in a coastal town, the air thick with the scent of salt and pine. Lena and Chloe step off the plane, their bags in tow, into the warm embrace of Elara Hayes, Lena's grandmother. Elara, in her late 80s, is frail but sharp-eyed, her silver hair pulled into a neat bun. The camera captures their reunion, Chloe's enthusiastic hug, Lena's gentle kiss on Elara's cheek, and Elara's trembling smile. Grandma, you look tired, Lena says, concern lacing her voice as they walk to Elara's modest car. Elara waves it off. Just old bones, Lena. Seeing you two is medicine enough. But her eyes hold a quiet weight, a shadow of unspoken stories. At Alara's home, a cozy but sparsely decorated bungalow, the camera pans across faded family photos on the mantel, none of Isaiah Hayes. Chloe, ever curious, explores the living room, pausing at a locked wooden box on a shelf. "What's in here, great-grandma?" she asks, her fingers brushing the carved lid. Alara stiffens, her voice soft but firm. "Just old things, Chloe. Nothing for little hands." Lena catches the exchange, her brow furrowing. Over dinner, simple fried fish and cornbread, Lena tries to probe. "Grandma, at the airport, they mentioned the Sky Blazers. Said Grandpa Isaiah was a hero. Why didn't you ever tell me?" Alara's fork pauses mid-air, her gaze fixed on her plate. "Your great-grandfather was a good man, Lena. That's all you need to know." Her tone is final, but her hands tremble slightly. The camera zooms in on her face, catching a flicker of pain before she forces a smile. "Tell me about your job instead." Later, as Chloe sleeps, Lena sits on the porch, staring at the stars. She pulls out the photo Dr. Reed gave her, Isaiah in his flight jacket, and whispers, "What are you hiding, Grandma?" What was the reason behind Alara's quiet demeanor and her reluctance to speak about her father? Morning light filters through Alara's kitchen, where Chloe sits at the table, coloring a picture of a plane. Alara pours coffee, her movements slow but deliberate. Lena, scrolling through her phone, finds an article about the Sky Blazers and reads aloud, "African-American pilots who defied racism to become World War II heroes." She glances at Alara. "This is incredible, Grandma. Why keep it a secret?" Alara sighs, setting the coffee pot down. "Not a secret, Lena. Just complicated." Before Lena can press further, Chloe holds up her drawing. "Great-grandma, did your daddy fly planes like this one? Was he brave?" Alara's face softens, but her eyes glisten. She takes the drawing, studying it. "He flew planes fancier than this, Chloe. And yes, he was brave. Braver than most." Her voice cracks, and she turns away, busying herself at the sink. Chloe, undeterred, pulls a faded photo from her backpack, the one Dr. Reed gave Lena. "Is this him?" she asks, holding it up. Alara freezes, her back to them, then slowly turns. The camera zooms in on her face as she sees the photo, Isaiah, young and proud. Her lips tremble. "Where'd you get that?" "From a nice lady who knows about the Sky Blazers," Chloe says proudly. Alara takes the photo, her fingers tracing Isaiah's face. "He looks so young here," she murmurs, almost to herself. Then, abruptly, she hands it back. "Put it away, Chloe. Some things are better left alone." Lena steps in, her voice gentle. "Grandma, Chloe's just curious. And honestly, so am I. Why does talking about him hurt so much?" Alara meets Lena's gaze, her eyes haunted. "Because not all heroes come home whole, Lena." She walks out, leaving Lena and Chloe stunned. A knock at Alara's door. Lena answers, surprised to find Marcus Hayes, her cousin, standing there. Mid-40s, with a warm smile but tired eyes, Marcus carries a toolbox and a bag of groceries. "Lena, didn't expect to see you here," he says, his voice tinged with awkwardness. The camera catches their hesitant hug, hinting at a strained past. Chloe bounds in. "Who's this, Mom?" Lena introduces Marcus as, "your cousin," sort of, explaining he's Alara's nephew. Marcus kneels to Chloe's level. "You must be the airplane girl I heard about. Got any pilot tricks up your sleeve?" Chloe giggles, instantly charmed. Over tea, Marcus explains he's been checking on Alara since her health declined. "She's stubborn, won't let me do much," he says, glancing at Alara, who's napping in her recliner. Lena lowers her voice. "Marcus, did you know about Grandpa Isaiah? The Sky Blazers?" Marcus nods slowly. "Aunt Alara told me bits and pieces when I was a kid. He was a hero, but something happened after the war. She clammed up about it." He pulls out his phone, showing a blurry photo of a young Isaiah with a group of pilots. "Found this in her attic years ago. She got mad when I asked about it." Lena studies the photo, her curiosity deepening. "At the airport, they treated us like royalty because of him. And Dr. Reed, a historian, said he was an innovator, not just a pilot." Marcus raises an eyebrow. Innovator? Like what? Inventions. A montage of old blueprints and sketches, hinting at Isaiah's creations. Marcus leans back, thoughtful. There's that old workshop out back. Aunt Alara never let me near it. Maybe there's more to find. Could Marcus hold more pieces of the puzzle regarding Captain Hayes's life? Ilara's overgrown backyard, where a weathered shed, Isaiah's workshop, stands, its windows boarded up. Lena, Marcus, and Chloe approach, the camera capturing the creak of the rusty lock as Marcus pries it open. Dust swirls as sunlight spills inside, revealing a treasure trove of history. Rusty tools, cobweb-covered blueprints, and strange, half-built contraptions. Chloe gasps, running to a model airplane suspended from the ceiling. Look, Mom. It's like my toy, but huge. Lena picks up a yellowed notebook, its pages filled with Isaiah's neat handwriting and sketches of plane parts. This is incredible, she breathes. He wasn't just flying planes, he was designing them. Marcus lifts a tarp, uncovering a prototype of a sleek, unidentifiable device. What the heck is this? Some kind of engine. The camera zooms in on the intricate gears, then cuts to a flashback. Isaiah in the workshop, his sleeves rolled up, sketching late into the night. Lena reads from the notebook, "For the next generation, a sky without barriers." What did he mean by that? Marcus shakes his head. Whatever it was, he never got to finish. Aunt Alara said he poured everything into this place, then just stopped. Chloe tugs at Lena's sleeve. Can we fix the world with this stuff, Mom? Like great-grandpa wanted. Lena exchanges a look with Marcus, a spark of determination in her eyes. The camera pans across the workshop's relics. What incredible secrets were hidden within the walls of this forgotten workshop? Ilara's dimly lit living room, the evening sun casting long shadows across faded wallpaper. Ilara sits in her recliner, a knitted shawl around her shoulders, clutching a steaming mug of tea. Lena sits across from her, the dusty notebook from Isaiah's workshop open on her lap. Chloe, curled up on the couch, listens intently, her toy airplane in hand. The camera captures the weight of the moment, Ilara's guarded expression softening as Lena gently presses for answers. "Grandma," Lena begins, her voice soft but firm, "we found Grandpa Isaiah's workshop. His sketches, his inventions. He was incredible. Why didn't you ever tell us about this?" She holds up a blueprint, a detailed drawing of a teaching model for young pilots. Ilara's eyes linger on the blueprint, her fingers tightening around her mug. "That workshop was his heart," she murmurs. "He spent every spare moment there, dreaming up ways to make the world better." Her voice trembles, and the camera zooms in on her face, catching a tear glistening in the corner of her eye. He wanted to turn it into a place for kids, especially kids like us, who weren't supposed to dream big. A place to learn about planes, about building things, about soaring. Chloe's eyes widen. "Like a school for flying? That's so cool." Ilara smiles faintly, but the sadness in her gaze deepens. "He never got the chance, Chloe. After the war, things changed. He came back different. Quiet. The world wasn't kind to men like him, no matter how brave they were." Lena leans forward, her brow furrowed. "What happened, Grandma? Why did he stop?" Ilara hesitates, her gaze drifting to a faded photo on the mantel, not of Isaiah, but of a young Ilara with her mother. "Some wounds you can't see, Lena. He fought for respect, but it cost him. The workshop, it became a reminder of dreams he couldn't finish." She pauses, her voice barely a whisper. "I promised myself I'd protect his memory, even if it meant keeping it locked away." Lena reaches for Ilara's hand, her voice thick with emotion. "You don't have to protect it anymore. We can honor him, together." Ilara meets Lena's gaze, a flicker of hope breaking through her grief. The camera pans to the blueprint, then. Would Lena, with her demanding career, be willing to take on such a significant and unexpected responsibility? Lena's sleek, modern office back in the city, a stark contrast to Ilara's cozy bungalow. Glass walls reflect the bustling cityscape, and Lena sits at her desk, surrounded by reports and a buzzing phone. The camera captures her distracted expression as she stares at a photo of Chloe holding Isaiah's blueprint, sent by Marcus. A voiceover, Lena's internal monologue, begins, "I've worked my whole life for this job. Stability, success, a future for Chloe. But now, this legacy. Can I walk away from everything I've built? A colleague, Jamal, knocks on her door, leaning in with a grin. Lena, you're zoning out again. Big pitch tomorrow, you ready? Lena forces a smile. Yeah, just family stuff. Jamal raises an eyebrow. Everything okay? You've been off since that trip. Lena hesitates, then pulls out the photo Dr. Reed gave her, Isaiah in his flight jacket. My great-grandfather was a pilot. A hero, apparently. I'm just figuring out what that means. Jamal studies the photo, impressed. That's dope, Lena. Sounds like a story worth telling. He leaves, but Lena's gaze lingers on the photo. The camera cuts to a montage, Lena presenting in a boardroom, her confidence masking inner turmoil, Chloe's excited texts about great-grandpa's school, Ilara's hopeful eyes. The voiceover continues, what if I'm not enough to carry his dream? What if I fail him? That night, Lena sits on her apartment balcony, the city lights below. She opens Isaiah's notebook, reading his words, the sky belongs to those who dare. The camera zooms in on her determined expression. What decision would Lena ultimately make, and how would it change the course of her life? Ilara's backyard, where Chloe, wearing a too-big pilot's cap for Marcus, stands on a tree stump, flying her toy airplane with dramatic sound effects. The camera captures her infectious joy as Lena and Marcus watch, laughing. She's got Isaiah's spirit, Marcus says, nudging Lena. Kid's gonna be a pilot someday. Inside, Chloe spreads her drawings across Ilara's kitchen table. Dozens of planes, some labeled Sky Blazers. Ilara, sipping tea, smiles warmly. You've got your great-grandpa's eye for detail, Chloe. Chloe beams. I want to learn everything about him. Did he ever fly super fast? Did he have a cool nickname? Ilara chuckles, a rare lightness in her voice. They called him Hawk, sharp eyes, never missed a thing. Chloe gasps, scribbling Hawk on her drawing. Lena, watching quietly, pulls Marcus aside. She's obsessed. I've never seen her like this. Marcus nods. It's not just her. You feel it too, don't you? Like Isaiah's calling us to do something. A school scene, Chloe presenting her Sky Blazers project to her class, holding up Isaiah's photo. Her classmates lean forward, captivated, as she says, my great-great-grandpa fought in the war and fought for fairness. He's my hero. The teacher, visibly moved, applauds, and Chloe grins ear to ear. Back at Ilara's, Chloe tugs Lena's sleeve. Mom, can we make great-grandpa's school real? For kids like me. Lena kneels, her heart swelling. We'll try, sweetie. I promise. The camera pans to Ilara, watching from the doorway, a tearful smile on her face. How would Chloe's innocent passion play a role in shaping her family's future? In Lena's office, her desk now half cleared, boxes stacked in a corner. She's on a video call with her boss, Diane, a no-nonsense executive. Lena, you're one of our best. Are you sure about this? Diane asks, her tone skeptical. Lena takes a deep breath, her voice steady. I am. My family's legacy. It's bigger than any promotion. I need to do this. Diane sighs. You're walking away from a corner office for a dusty workshop? I hope you know what you're doing. Lena smiles faintly. For the first time, I think I do. She ends the call, grabs Isaiah's notebook, and heads out, the camera capturing her determined stride. Back at Ilara's, Lena gathers Marcus, Chloe, and Ilara in the living room. I'm quitting my job, she announces. Chloe cheers, but Ilara's eyes widen. Lena, that's a big step. Are you sure? Lena nods, holding up the blueprint. Grandpa Isaiah wanted to inspire kids. I want to make that happen. For him, for Chloe, for us. Marcus grins. Count me in. I'm handy with tools, and I've got some savings to chip in. Chloe bounces. I'll help too. I can draw posters. Ilara's gaze softens, pride mixing with worry. Your great-grandfather would be proud, Lena. But it won't be easy. Lena and Marcus clearing out the workshop, hauling out junk and uncovering more of Isaiah's relics. Lena finds a letter tucked in a drawer, addressed to "My future dreamers," and her eyes light up. What were the first steps Lena would take to bring her great-grandfather's dream to life? The workshop, now partially cleaned, with sunlight streaming through newly unboarded windows. Lena and Marcus pore over a stack of Isaiah's journals, their pages filled with sketches and heartfelt notes. Chloe, wearing safety goggles, carefully dusts a model plane. The camera zooms in on a journal entry, "A hub for young minds, where race and circumstance don't ground their wings." Lena reads aloud, her voice awed. "He planned every detail, flight simulators, engineering classes, even scholarships. He wanted this to be a legacy." Marcus flips through a blueprint of a compact flight trainer. This is next level. He was decades ahead of his time. Marcus uncovers a locked metal box under a workbench. "What's this?" he mutters, prying it open to reveal medals, including a distinguished flying cross, and a letter from a wartime commander praising Isaiah's courage. Lena gasps. "He never told anyone about these? Not even Grandma?" Chloe peers inside. "Why'd he hide his shiny medals?" Marcus shakes his head. "Maybe he didn't think the world cared." The camera flashes to a stylized reenactment, Isaiah receiving a medal, his face proud but weary, as a voiceover reads from his journal, "Honor means nothing if it's given with resentment." Lena finds another letter, this one personal, hinting at a falling out with a business partner post-war. "This could explain why the workshop shut down," she says, her eyes narrowing. Marcus nods. "Sounds like betrayal. We need to find out who this guy was." The camera pans across the medals, blueprints, and Lena's determined face. What untold stories and groundbreaking ideas were contained within these historical artifacts? The partially renovated workshop, now a hive of activity. Lena and Marcus hammer away at new shelves, while Chloe paints a sign that reads, "Sky Blazers Innovation Hub." The camera captures the chaos, leaking pipes, warped floorboards, and a flickering light. Dust swirls as Lena wipes sweat from her brow, frustration evident. "This place is falling apart faster than we can fix it," she mutters to Marcus. Marcus, wielding a wrench, shrugs. "Old buildings, old problems. But we've got Isaiah's blueprints, those are solid." He points to a sketch of a flight simulator, pinned to the wall. The camera zooms in on the detailed design, then cuts to a flashback, Isaiah sketching late at night, his face lit by a single lamp, determination in his eyes. A contractor, a gruff older man named Ray, pokes his head in. "Lena, the electrical's shot. Rewiring's gonna cost more than you budgeted." Lena's face falls. "We're already stretched thin. Can we patch it for now?" Ray shakes his head. "Not safely. You're building for kids, right? Can't cut corners." Chloe, overhearing, tugs Lena's sleeve. "Mom, what if we ask for help? Like, tell people about Great-Grandpa Hayes?" Lena hesitates, then nods. "You're right, Chloe. Maybe it's time to share his story." The camera cuts to Lena recording a shaky video on her phone, explaining Isaiah's dream and the workshop's potential. She posts it online, her voiceover nervous but hopeful. "I didn't expect this to be so hard, but I know it's worth it." The next day, a local reporter, Mia, arrives, intrigued by the video. "You're saying this workshop belonged to a World War II hero?" she asks, filming Lena amid the renovation mess. Lena nods, holding up Isaiah's journal. "He wanted to inspire kids to dream big. We're trying to make that happen." Mia's eyes light up. This could be huge for the community. But challenges persist. The camera shows a stormy night, rain leaking through the roof, soaking blueprints. Lena and Marcus scramble to save them, their faces tense. Lena's voiceover reflects, "Every step forward feels like 2 steps back. Can we really do this? Would they be able to overcome these hurdles and transform the dusty workshop into a vibrant community space?" Montage of Lena's video going viral. Local news clips, social media shares, and comments praising the Sky Blazers. The workshop buzzes with new energy as volunteers, teenagers, retirees, and local business owners arrive to help. The camera captures a diverse group painting walls, fixing pipes, and assembling furniture, set to upbeat music. Mia, the reporter, interviews a volunteer, a young mechanic named Jamal. "I heard about Captain Hayes and had to help," he says, holding a wrench. A black pilot building stuff like this in the 40s? That's inspiring. A local hardware store owner, Mrs. Patel, donates supplies, saying, "This hub could change lives around here." Chloe, now a mini ambassador, hands out flyers at a community fair, her enthusiasm infectious. "Come see my great-grandpa's workshop," she tells a group of kids, who eagerly take the flyers. The camera zooms in on a flyer with Isaiah's photo and the words, "Sky Blazers Innovation Hub." Lena and Marcus meet with a city council member, Ms. Torres, who's intrigued by the project. "This could bring tourism and jobs," she says. "But you'll need funding to sustain it." Lena nods, determined. "We'll find a way. Isaiah's dream deserves it." Back at the workshop, a group of teens tests a recreated model of Isaiah's flight trainer, their laughter filling the air. Ilara watching from the sidelines, her eyes misty with pride. Lena approaches her. "Grandma, this is because of you and Grandpa Isaiah." Ilara shakes her head. "No, Lena. It's because of you." The screen fades with text. How would the community's enthusiasm contribute to the success of Captain Hayes's vision? Ilara stepping into the nearly completed workshop, now bright with fresh paint and modern lights. The camera lingers on her face, wonder and emotion etched in every line, as she runs her fingers along a restored workbench. Lena guides her, pointing to a display of Isaiah's medals and blueprints. "We're keeping his legacy alive, Grandma," Lena says softly. Ilara's voice trembles. "I never thought I'd see this. After the war, he tried so hard, but the world wasn't ready for his dreams." She pauses, her eyes distant. The camera flashes to a stylized memory, Isaiah in the workshop, rejected by a suited man who tosses his blueprints aside. Ilara continues, "He shut this place up to protect us, but it broke his heart." Chloe bounds in, holding a model plane. "Great-grandma, look. We're gonna teach kids to make these." Ilara kneels, her smile radiant. "Your great-grandpa would have loved you, Chloe." The camera captures their embrace, then pans to volunteers setting up computers and flight simulators, donated by a local tech company. At a community meeting, Lena shares Isaiah's story, her voice steady but emotional. "He fought for a world where everyone could soar. This hub is his dream reborn." The crowd applauds, and a young girl raises her hand. "Can I learn to fly planes here?" Lena grins. "Absolutely." Ilara wipes a tear, whispering to Marcus, "He's here, somehow. I feel him." Ilara's joyful expression. What impact would seeing her father's dream realized have on Ilara's well-being? Bursts with color and energy. The grand opening of the Sky Blazers Innovation Hub. Balloons float above a crowd of locals, kids, and dignitaries. The workshop, now a sleek community center, hums with activity. Flight simulators whir, kids tinker with model planes, and a mural of the Sky Blazers adorns the wall. The camera pans across a plaque honoring Isaiah Hayes, his photo gleaming. Lena steps to a podium, nervous but proud. "This hub is for dreamers, like my great-grandfather, Captain Isaiah Hayes. He believed the sky was for everyone." The crowd cheers, and Chloe, beside her, waves excitedly. Marcus unveils a working replica of Isaiah's flight trainer, and kids gasp as it hums to life. Dr. Evelyn Reed, the historian, speaks next, holding up Isaiah's journal. "The Sky Blazers were pioneers. This hub ensures their story inspires generations." Sarah, the pilot from Chapter 1, attends, saluting the plaque. "Your great-grandfather saved my grandfather's life," she tells Lena. "Now you're saving his legacy." Kids exploring, their faces lit with wonder. A local news crew films, and Mia's report goes viral, drawing national attention. Ilara, in a wheelchair, beams as Chloe shows her a kid's drawing of a plane labeled Hawk. How would this hub impact the lives of young people and ensure the Sky Blazers are never forgotten? With a soaring drone shot of the hub, kids streaming in for classes, their laughter echoing. Lena, now the hub's director, guides a group through a flight simulator, her face radiant with purpose. Marcus teaches a workshop on engineering, while Chloe, now a confident preteen, leads a tour, proudly showing Isaiah's medals. A montage shows the hub's impact. Teens winning science fairs, a scholarship fund in Isaiah's name, and national news coverage of the Sky Blazers. Ilara, healthier and happier, attends events, sharing stories of her father. A voiceover, Lena's, reflects, from a forgotten workshop to a beacon of hope, Isaiah's dream lives on. Isaiah's photo, now framed with a plaque, Captain Isaiah Hayes, Sky Blazer, Dreamer. Uplifting music swells as text overlays urge viewers to share the story and honor unsung heroes. The final shot shows kids launching model planes into the sky. The Sky Blazers were once forgotten, but their story, sparked by an unexpected airline incident, has now inspired a new generation. Their legacy lives on. The end.